Mid-spring is in full gear these days, and to celebrate that, my wife and I decided to make a springtime delicacy. The tempura fried shoots of the Japanese angelica tree, Aralia elata, known as Taranaki in Japanese. This entire tree is absolutely covered in spines, making it an extremely unlikely food item, and yet, when you deep fry the young shoots, they're really quite delicious. After our meal, we also went for a walk in a nearby park to enjoy the spring sights and sounds. So why don't you come along and see our little adventure, and you'll learn something about how to prepare tempura. Aurelia elata is native to much of Eastern Asia and is tolerant of both hot and cold conditions. In the spring, the terminal growing point can be harvested before the many spines it has harden off. This can be accomplished by simply snapping off the still soft shoot. This will not hurt the plant in any way, since the side bud will develop a new growth. These trees aren't called the devil's walking stick for no reason. In the eastern U.S., a similar species, Aralia spinosa, is a common forest plant and is often confused with Aelata. Luckily, this is not a problem, since its shoots, too, are fully edible. A serious issue is confusing this species with non-edible plants. One particularly dangerous look-alike in Japan are the poison sumacs, Toxicodendron. These, however, are easily distinguished from Aralia in that they grow like many trees in a broad dome shape. Also, sumacs have no spines at all. The Aralias are upright and very scarcely branched, hence the walking stick idea. The crown of the Aralia has individual broad umbrella-like growths over a meter across. The foliage, too, is quite beautiful to look at, hence its other name, the angelica tree. Once you've got some shoots, you need to wash and prepare them. First, you have to cut away any parts that are hard and spiny. The tiny growing tip is the softest part and can be simply snapped off. The soft young leaves can be eaten too, but the middle stem area is typically too hard and spiny to eat and should be cut away. The shoots need to be patted dry with paper towels such they are just moist to the touch. Today we'll be eating fresh shrimp, squid, and shimeji mushrooms as well, and these too need to be prepared for frying. Tempura is commonly dipped in a sauce made of finely grated daikon radish and tsuyu, a sauce composed of soup stock, soy sauce, cooking sake, and sugar. Tsuyu can be found in Asian food stores around the world these days. Here I'm preparing the daikon. The batter we'll be using today is very simple. Plain wheat flour mixed with a few tablespoons of potato starch and water. You can use cornstarch as well, or just skip the starch altogether. Okay, it's time to start frying. Any good cooking oil will do, preferably with a lighter taste. Water is added to the batter and stirred. Its consistency should be fairly watery. A few drips of batter are thrown into the oil to check the temperature. The taranome shoots are then lightly dipped in the batter and put into the pot. Frying time is short, not much more than a minute or so, just enough to solidify the batter, but not to brown it much. The mushrooms were kind of scary, frying violently due to their moisture content. Next, the shrimp go in, much more cooperative and looking yummy. Finally, the meal is prepared and ready to eat. A small bowl, in this case made of lovely bone china, made right here in Kyushu, complete with Shunan orchid flowers, is used for the dipping sauce. First, some tsuyu is put in, but be careful to dilute it with water, 1 part tsuyu to 2 parts water. Then goes in the grated daikon, and presto, the sauce is ready. Tempura is also great with just a bit of salt. This particular salt came from Bolivia and is naturally pink in color. Lightly dip the tempura into the salt. It's time to eat! I've got a nice Japanese beer called Ginga Kogen, a great companion drink. That's good. Where's Mr. Pig?
Can't hear you.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll try one of these, since that's what this video's about.
It's a nice shape.
It's good. Ikoishi.
Too much cooked though.
Oh, really? Try one of these shrimp. Shrimp do you recommend with daikon or with salt?
私はこれ食べた。Really crunch.
After the meal, we went for a walk in the park. Please enjoy the sights and sounds we saw along the way in the following scenes. Also, stay to the end of the video and see some identification markers of this species and some lookalikes and how to tell them all apart. As always, liking and sharing my videos as well as subscribing to my channel are a great help and much appreciated. So we'll see you all next week.